What is a lesson you learned too late in life? Smoking isn't worth it. As a smoker, completely and utterly agree. Check out Alan Care's Easy Way to Stop Smoking if you haven't already. I listened to it on Audible in one day and that was the last day I smoked. It honestly wasn't even that hard, and I was pretty fucking addicted. Life is way happier and calmer now without it. I hope something works for you. I did this too. It changes your outlook on smoking and makes it much easier to stop. You can be the best driver on the road, but you can't control everyone else. Always keep your head up and drive safe. Use your turn signals, but do not trust anyone else using their turn signals. Lesson I still remember from driver's ed 30 years ago. There's only one thing you know for certain when you see a car with its turn signal on. They have their turn signal on. That's it. You have no way of knowing if they plan on turning, if they change their mind at the last second, if they just forgot to turn it off. That attention and actual interest are two way different things. Completely. I had a somewhat shitty group of friends. Good people just didn't seem to appreciate me. I started working at a new workplace and someone offered to drive me home, since I was without a car at that moment, and on the way home they asked stuff about me and literally paused and wanted me to wholeheartedly answer the question and give my reasons. It stopped me in my tracks. I still remember the realization. Oh wait, you actually want to know and care about the response. I branched out my social circles after that, and the first person I started getting closer to did the exact same thing. It really made me realize the friendships I had which I thought were close good friends were actually really shallow relationships. So to reiterate your point, just because people show you attention does not mean they are interested. This hits pretty close to home. Same. I go back and forth with cutting off a social circle of mine. But it's hard for me because I've known them my whole life. It's hard to make that leap when I know I have to start over. Sometimes you just have to let stupid people be stupid. Stupid is as stupid does. Brush your goddamn teeth. Brush in the evening to keep your teeth. Brush in the morning to keep your friends. So this why I only night brush when I'm depressed. I have no friends, but plenty of nightmares of my teeth falling out. Not everyone is down for you like they say they are. Ride or die is actually usually ride until it gets a little uncomfortable or inconvenient. Then you're on your own. But when my life goes up in flames I will expect you to throw yourself in front of a bus for me cause we ride or die. My ride, you die. It's not too late. But I've learned that in certain situations where there's an opportunity to be accepted or rejected, whether it's work, romance, etc. Sometimes the worst thing someone can say is no. Exactly. In many situations, I ask myself, what's the worst that could happen? And in more situations than I thought I would, the worst sure kinda sucks, but isn't really that bad. You have to take chances sometimes. And although it can be scary and outside your comfort zone, you'll never know what cold bean unless you go for it. It's not fair. Truth. That everyone is making it up as they go along. Your teacher, parents, pastor, army generals, CEOs, everyone. No one has 100% true answers. However, success in life is about being decisive. Get enough information to make an intelligent decision, then confidently act on it. Others will think you have all the answers. I recently had to give a presentation for a new project to upper management. Going in I was thinking, oh god, I have no idea what I'm doing. After the presentation, they were very approving, which made me think, oh god, they have no idea what they are doing. And that folks is how I'm getting through speech class right now. Just because someone seems nice at first doesn't mean they're a good person. For me it's, just because someone has a nice demeanor doesn't mean they're a good person. Some people can keep it up on the outside. Learned this the hard way. Your definition of good equals their definition of good. Nice is easy. Aligning on good is much more difficult. Never trust your boss or coworkers to not stab you in the back for their benefit. It's okay to fail. That's how we learn. I used to be so afraid of failing that I never tried. Why do we fall? Mash to Wayne. Because we're a spoiled little F who has terrible balance? No, sorry. The correct answer is we fall because we're a civilian with access to military grade black ops equipment with little training. As someone who was in the military, he probably had more training than we did tbh. That I'm capable of success. I spent so long doubting myself and not doing things because I didn't think I could. And look at you now. You sex master. I bet he's fucking good at it. Guys, I don't care what gender op is. I just defaulted to male out of habit. All I wanted to do was make a bad pun. Well, he's good fucking. I can do it myself. Now that we are in the digital age, I learned how to change my windshield wipers, trim my rabbit's nails, repair screen windows, replace my sub pump, etc. I always felt like I missed out learning hands-on thing because my dad checked out early. Nah, girl, you can do that S on your own. Absolutely. YouTube is the bomb for this. Listen to your grandparents' stories and ask them as many questions as you can about their lives and family history, etc. All 4 of mine passed when I was too young to truly appreciate any of the above. This one hits me hard. I have one grandparent left and she lives in a different country. Exactly the same for me. I was so envious of my friends growing up who always spent weekends or evenings after school with their grandparents. Being alone is less lonely than being married to the wrong person. Never been married, but watching both of my parents be deeply unhappy in a loveless marriage for 30 years has been extremely upsetting. I completely feel you. My mom even went as far as telling me to take note and not make the same mistake she did. What a powerful and terribly sad thing to tell your child. Still think about it to this day, and believe me, I have definitely learned from her and their experience. Hope you're alright, and hope your experience hasn't completely put you off meaningful relationships. My mom told me she wanted to split up with my dad the day my dog died. Granted, everyone was emotional and saying stuff they probably didn't know how to say, but her revelation went something like this: you know, I was staying with your dad because if we split up, I wouldn't get to see our dog every day. Brutal to hear, and the whole thing is still uncomfortable. But I've been there for my dad as much as possible. My dad used to often ask me, do you want me to divorce your mother? I was maybe 10 when that started. They divorced about 5 years later. After being married about 25 years, and probably wanting to stay together for the kids. That the disappointment of your parents will be far shorter lived than the unhappiness you'll endure by trying to make your life fit their perfect picture. Arranged_marriage has left the chat. Not just arranged. For me it was a marrying because I knew my religious mom would freak if I just lived with him. Then B, staying married way too long because I didn't want to disappoint my mom by getting divorced. Or to find out she really cared more about my happiness than any of the rest. The problem is, they never see how toxic their views are until it's too late. I'm glad you're okay now though. Part of the problem was that I believed she was more attached to her views than she really was. But, yes, also she did later realize that some of her views were toxic and created toxic situations. You don't need a million friends. Maybe less than 10. Maybe 5. Good friends. Put a lot of effort into those relationships instead of spreading yourself too thin. Feels harder as the world is so transient these days and people move all around the world. It's easy to lose and gain friendships very quickly, or even if you maintain long distance friendships, they are more difficult to maintain and may not be as impactful to your social needs. I can agree with that. Also, not letting loss of contact degrade the connection. My longest friend I've known since 6th grade, but due to long distance, we haven't seen each other in almost 3 years now. Despite that we text, but not all the time. More like in massive paragraphs like a letter once a week or so. For most people this isn't near enough, but we enjoy it, since we are both busy people who like time to ourselves. Shout out to you Abigail. Hell, one of my best friends going on 13 years now is someone I see maybe every 6 months if that. We don't text in between. Really? We know we are good, and we'll see one another when the other is in town. It doesn't have to be complicated if you'll love each other lol. That other people don't care what you think. They're more worried about themselves. And you aren't the first thing on their priority list. Cold saved so many headaches. If I knew this years ago. You left out the stupidest part of that concept. Nobody cares what you think. But you have to care what they think. Apostrophe. Yup. You can believe whatever you want. So long as it doesn't contradict or make them question what they believe. If it does make them question themselves, that's when they start to react poorly. Not because they care what you think, but because they are trying to reaffirm their own belief in themselves. Some people just won't admit they're wrong. Don't waste time trying to get them to accept it. Wasted too much of my own time trying to correct people. It's the allegory of the cave man. That's why they also say, if you wanna tell folks the truth, be funny. Otherwise they're gonna wanna kill you. Hey Neanderthals. There's a whole world to explore outside this cave. Also, you're wrong about everything. Okay, bye. Do you mean Plato's cave? Or is there another cave thing that I'm not aware of? Plato's cave.